It started like a scene from a heartbreak story: a quiet cafe, an untouched cup of coffee, and a man sitting alone, holding a bouquet that was beginning to wilt. Michael Turner never imagined this would be his life. A 36-year-old architect, successful on paper, but hollow inside. He had designed skyscrapers that touched the clouds, yet he couldn't seem to build anything lasting in his own heart. His sister, tired of seeing him lonely, had convinced him to try a blind date. "She's perfect for you," she'd said. Sweet, funny, down to earth. So he came, dressed neatly in his favorite navy blazer, the one that always made him feel just a bit more confident. The cafe smelled of roasted coffee beans and cinnamon, but all he could taste was anxiety. 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 30. No one came. He tried to smile through the embarrassment, pretending to check his phone, but the waitress wouldn't see his disappointment. The chatter of happy couples around him felt deafening. Everyone seemed to belong except him. He muttered under his breath, "Maybe some people just aren't meant to find love." That's when a tiny voice broke through the noise. "Excuse me, sir, are you Michael?" He looked up. Standing there was a little girl, maybe 6 years old, clutching a teddy bear that looked nearly as big as her. Her dark curls framed a face full of nervous determination. Yes, he said, confused. "Who are you?" The little girl smiled shyly. "My mom is sorry she's late." And just like that, the world seemed to pause. From across the cafe, a woman rushed in, wind in her hair, cheeks flushed from the cold, eyes full of apology. She was holding a purse and the look that said, "I didn't mean for this to happen. I am so sorry," she gasped. "There was traffic, and my babysitter cancelled." But Michael wasn't listening anymore. He was watching how gently she took her daughter's hand, how her voice softened when she said, "Thank you, Lily, you did great." For the first time that night, he smiled, not out of politeness, but out of genuine warmth. This wasn't the evening he'd expected, but maybe, just maybe, it would be the one he needed. Sometimes, life keeps us waiting, not to punish us, but to prepare us for the right arrival. Michael didn't know it yet, but this little girl and her late, exhausted mother were about to change his life in a way no one else ever could. Before we continue with this incredible journey, I spent countless hours researching and crafting this story to bring you something truly meaningful. If stories like this touch your heart, and you want to see more acts of kindness that restore faith in humanity, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. It means the world to me and helps these important stories reach others who need to hear them. Now, let's see what happens next. The woman finally caught her breath and smiled, an embarrassed, tired smile that somehow made Michael forget his disappointment entirely. "I'm Emily," she said softly, brushing a stray curl from her face. "And this little one is Lily. I am so sorry about the delay. I didn't want to cancel last minute." Michael chuckled lightly, shaking his head. "You're here now, and it looks like I got to meet the best messenger in town." Lily grinned shyly and hid behind her mother's coat. As they sat down, something shifted. The awkward tension that usually filled Michael's blind dates wasn't there. Instead, the atmosphere felt warm, real. The way Emily gently coaxed Lily to color quietly beside them, the way she apologized every time her daughter giggled too loudly, it showed a tenderness that disarmed him completely. "So," he began carefully, "you brought a +1. Emily laughed, covering her face. "Yeah, not exactly the romantic start you were promised." "Huh," he smiled. "Actually, it's perfect. Makes me feel like I'm meeting both of you, not just a name on a text." There was something in her eyes, gratitude mixed with surprise. "You're kind," she said softly. "Most people don't think that way." Over coffee and hot chocolate, they began to talk about work, family, exhaustion, and the little moments that kept them going. Michael learned that Emily was a nurse, a single mother who worked night shifts at the local hospital, often leaving Lily with neighbors or family. "It's not easy," she admitted, stirring her coffee absent-mindedly. "But every time I come home and she runs into my arms, I know I'm doing something right." Michael nodded, his voice low. "You are. More than you think. As Lily drew on her napkin, Michael leaned over to help her pick up a dropped crayon. "You're quite the artist," he said gently. Lily looked at him, her brown eyes bright. "I like building houses with crayons." Michael smiled. "Then we're a perfect team. I build them with bricks." Emily looked at the two of them, her daughter laughing for the first time that day, and felt her heart soften in a way it hadn't in years. This wasn't the usual surface-level charm she encountered. This was something simple, genuine, and unexpectedly healing. When the check came, Michael refused to let her pay. "Next time," he said with a wink. "Next time?" she asked, a little surprised. He smiled. "If you'll let there be one." Emily hesitated for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Yeah, I'd like that." In a world of screens and short tempers, sometimes kindness is as simple as patience. Michael thought he'd come for a date, but what he found was connection. A tired mother, a shy little girl, and the spark of something real, growing quietly between three hearts that had all been waiting for the same thing: warmth. What would you do if you discovered someone's kindness and sincerity in such an unexpected way? Would you give them a chance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Days turned into weeks, and next time became a promise kept. Michael and Emily began seeing each other more often. Coffee for her night shifts, Sunday picnics at the park, quiet dinners where Lily always insisted on sitting beside Michael. He'd never imagined his evenings would sound like laughter echoing through a playground, or smell like pancakes made from a box mix at Emily's tiny apartment. Yet somehow, it all felt right. Michael found joy in small things again. Fixing Emily's creaky cabinet, teaching Lily how to build little houses out of popsicle sticks, or watching her draw under the glow of a kitchen lamp. One night, as Emily tucked Lily in, she whispered, "Mommy, do you love Michael?" Emily froze, then smiled gently. "He's a very special friend, sweetheart." But even she knew it was more than that. Michael wasn't just kind, he was steady, reliable in a world that had given her too many reasons not to trust. Still, beneath their growing bond, fear lingered. One evening, after dinner, Emily grew quiet. "I should tell you something," she said, twisting her fingers nervously. "Lily's father, he left before she was born. When people find out, they treat me differently, like I'm baggage." Michael leaned forward, his voice calm but firm. "You're not baggage, Emily. You're the strongest person I've met." She blinked away tears. "You don't have to say that." "I'm not saying it because I have to," he replied. "I'm saying it because it's true." That night, for the first time in years, Emily allowed herself to believe she was worthy of being loved again. But not everyone was ready to see her happy. A week later, Michael's sister, who had set up the blind date, confronted him. "You can't be serious about this, Mike. She's a single mom. You barely know her," he sighed. "I know she's kind. I know she's been through more than most people," and still smiles. "That's enough for me. Just be careful," she warned. "You always give too much." Her words echoed in his head, sowing seeds of doubt he didn't want to acknowledge. Then came the turning point. Emily's hospital announced layoffs. She was suddenly forced into extra shifts, struggling to make ends meet. Their time together grew rare. Texts went unanswered. Calls came late. One evening, after another missed dinner, Michael sat alone in that same cafe where they'd first met. The same table, the same empty chair across from him. He stared at the door, half hoping to see a little girl with a teddy bear come running in again. But no one came. Even the kindest hearts can be tested. Love, no matter how gentle, must survive the storms of fear, doubt, and circumstance. And sometimes, silence hurts more than goodbye. Weeks passed. Michael tried to stay patient, but the silence from Emily began to ache. Every night, he'd open his messages, staring at their last exchange. "I'll make it up to you, I promise." But the promise never came. Then, one rainy evening, Michael received a call from the hospital. Emily had collapsed during her shift from exhaustion. He dropped everything and drove straight there. When he reached the ward, he found little Lily sitting in the waiting area, clutching her teddy bear again. Her tiny eyes lit up when she saw him. Mr. Michael, she said, running to him. Mommy said not to worry, but she's been sleeping too long. Michael knelt, his heart breaking. It's okay, sweetheart. I'm here now. He waited by Emily's bedside until morning. When she finally woke, her voice was barely a whisper. You shouldn't have come, he smiled softly. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I didn't want you to see me like this, tired, worn out. I thought maybe you'd realize you deserve someone who's not broken. Michael took her hand, firm but gentle. You think love is about being perfect. No, it's about showing up. And I'm not going anywhere. That moment changed everything. When Emily was discharged, Michael showed up at her apartment, not with flowers, but with a plan. He'd designed a small home renovation to make her life easier, extra storage, a child-safe kitchen space, and even a tiny nook for Lily's drawings. Emily stood speechless, hands over her mouth. Michael, this must have cost. He shook his head. It's not charity, it's love. Lily ran up and hugged his leg. Mommy, can we keep him? Emily laughed through tears. I think we just might have to. Over the months, things began to blossom. Emily started working part-time from home, spending more time with Lily. Michael, once the lonely architect, found himself sketching not just buildings but dreams for a family. One golden afternoon, in that same cafe where it all began, Michael pulled out a small box. Emily, he said softly, I was waiting for the right moment to say this, but maybe the right moment was the day your daughter walked in and changed my life. Will you marry me? Emily covered her face, trembling. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Lily squealed. Does this mean I get a daddy now? Michael's voice broke as he smiled. If you will have me, kiddo. And with that, a family was born, not from perfection, but from patience, kindness, and a little girl's simple courage to speak first. It's been 3 years since that unexpected meeting in the cafe. Today, the little family sits around a sunlit breakfast table. Lily, now 9, giggling as she spreads too much jam on her toast, and Emily humming softly while packing her school lunch. Michael enters, still in his architect's shirt, holding blueprints covered with Lily's doodles. He grins. You've redesigned my project again. Lily laughs. I added a playground. Every building needs one. Emily leans in, brushing his shoulder. She gets that from you. You always make room for joy. Their life isn't perfect. Some days are still hard, but it's full of laughter, love, and second chances. Michael never imagined that an empty table would lead him to everything he'd been missing. Emily never thought someone would see her beyond the struggle. And Lily, well, she proved that sometimes a child's innocence can mend hearts adults have given up on. The cafe where it all began now holds a framed photograph on its wall. Michael, Emily, and Lily, smiling under the words, reserved for the table that started it all. Whenever new couples sit there, the staff share the story of how a missed date became a miracle of love. Where are they now? Michael's architectural firm now donates part of every project to build accessible homes for single parents. Emily runs a small design studio from home, mentoring women who are rebuilding their lives. And Lily, she's still drawing. Her latest sketch is titled, The Day Mommy Found Daddy. Sometimes, the best things in life arrive disguised as delays, interruptions, or even disappointments. But kindness has a way of rewriting every story. If only we let it. So next time life makes you wait, remember, you might just be sitting at your own table that started it all. Stories like this remind us that extraordinary kindness exists all around us. If this story touched your heart, please like this video. It helps more people discover these powerful moments of hope. And don't forget to subscribe for more real, emotional stories that will restore your faith in humanity. But more than anything, go out and be that act of kindness today, because you never know whose entire world you might change.